"You are a failure and you're not traveling with us, you ridiculous old man," my son-in-law shouted at the boarding gate. I smiled and boarded without a ticket. Only after the captain announced my name did he realize I was the owner of the airline. That's when I said something in front of everyone. "I'm glad to have you here. Follow my story until the end and comment the city you're watching from so I can see how far my story has reached." I'm standing in the departure line at LaGuardia Airport at 6:30 in the morning, my small carry-on bag at my feet, watching my daughter Jennifer fidget with her designer purse while her husband Gerald checks his Rolex for the third time in as many minutes. "Can you move any slower, Russell?" Gerald's voice cuts through the early morning airport noise. "We've been in this line for 20 minutes because of you." I don't respond. I've learned over the past 3 years that responding to Gerald only makes things worse. Jennifer glances at me, her eyes apologetic but her mouth firmly shut. She won't defend me. She hasn't defended me in a long time. The line moves forward. I adjust my grip on my bag and take a step. My knee aches a bit, but I don't complain. I'm 64, not ancient, but Gerald treats me like I'm 1 foot in the grave. "Jesus Christ," Gerald mutters, loud enough for the people around us to hear. This is exactly why I didn't want him coming. He's going to slow down the entire trip. "Gerald," Jennifer whispers, but there's no force behind it. Just a weak plea that he ignores completely. I remember when Jennifer used to stand up for people. When she was 12, she punched a boy in her class for bullying a kid with a stutter, came home with a black eye and a proud smile. Margaret and I tried to look stern, but we were bursting with pride. Our daughter had a spine. That spine seems to have disappeared somewhere around the time she said "I do" to the man currently glaring at me like I'm something he stepped in. We reach the check-in counter. The young woman behind it smiles professionally. "Good morning. Can I see your passports and booking confirmations?" Gerald steps forward, cutting in front of me. We're together, but we need to make sure we're not seated anywhere near him. He jerks his thumb in my direction like I'm a stranger, not his wife's father. The woman's smile falters. She looks at me, then at Jennifer, then back at Gerald. I'll see what I can do, sir." "You do that," Gerald says. He turns to face me fully now, and I can see it building in him. The contempt, the anger at my mere existence. "You know what? I don't even know why you're here, Russell. Nobody wants you on this trip." "Gerald, please," Jennifer says, but she's looking at the floor, not at him. "No, Jennifer, he needs to hear this." Gerald's voice is rising now. A few people in line behind us are starting to stare. "Your father has always been dead weight. Even now, retired, doing nothing with his life, he manages to be a burden." I feel the heat rising in my chest, but I keep my face neutral. I've gotten good at that over the years. Margaret used to say I had a poker face that could win championships. She meant it as a compliment, but right now it feels like a survival skill. "Sir, if you could just give me your documents," the airline employee tries, but Gerald isn't finished. "Do you know what the problem is? He's fully performing now, feeding off the attention. The problem is that you've never accomplished anything. You're a failure who wasted his life, and now you expect us to drag you around like some kind of charity case." Jennifer flinches at the word failure, but she still doesn't speak up. That hurts worse than anything Gerald is saying. My daughter, my little girl who used to climb into my lap and ask me to tell her stories about brave princesses who saved themselves, is standing there silent while her husband tears me apart in public. "I worked hard my whole life," I say quietly. It's the first thing I've said since we entered the airport. Gerald laughs. It's a cruel sound. "Worked hard at what? Being mediocre?" "Please, you're 64 years old with nothing to show for it." The airline employee looks deeply uncomfortable now. She's stopped even pretending to process our documents. Behind us, I can hear whispers. Someone has their phone out, probably recording. This will be someone's entertainment later. A story about a terrible son-in-law humiliating an old man. Maybe I should just head home, I say calmly, if my being here is such a problem. "Finally," Gerald throws his hands up. "Finally you get it. Yes, Russell, go home. This trip is for successful people, for people who matter. You don't fit that description." He reaches over and grabs the papers from my hand, the boarding pass and itinerary I printed out last week. Before I can react, he tears them in half. The sound of ripping paper seems impossibly loud. "There. Problem solved. You are a failure and you're not traveling with us, you ridiculous old man." The words echo through the terminal. The entire check-in area has gone quiet. Everyone is staring now. Jennifer has tears running down her face, but she's still not speaking. Not defending. Not intervening. Just standing there, crying silently, while her husband destroys what's left of my dignity. I look at my daughter for a long moment. I want her to say something. Anything. I want her to be the girl who punched a bully for someone else's sake. But she just stares at the torn papers in Gerald's hand, her lip trembling. "It's okay, Jennifer," I say softly. "It's okay." Gerald smirks. He thinks he's won. He thinks he's successfully put the old man in his place. I reach down and pick up my bag. "You two enjoy your trip," I say. My voice is steady, calm. I even manage a small smile. "I'll figure things out on my own." Finally showing some sense, Gerald says. He's already turning back to the counter, dismissing me completely. "Now we can actually have a pleasant vacation." Jennifer opens her mouth. "Dad," she starts, but her voice is so quiet it barely registers. "It's fine, sweetheart," I tell her, and I turn and walk away. I don't look back. I can hear Gerald already chatting with the airline employee, his voice jovial now that he's gotten rid of the inconvenience. I can hear Jennifer's small, choked sounds that might be sobs or might be her trying to find her voice. I keep walking, past the check-in counters, past the security lines. I walk until I reach a different corridor, one that most passengers never see. The sign above it reads, "Executive Access, Morrison Airlines personnel only." The security guard at the entrance straightens up when he sees me. "Mr. Morrison." "Good morning, sir. Are you checking in for the Caribbean flight?" "I am, Marcus," I say, and my smile is genuine now. "How's your daughter doing? She start college yet?" "She did, sir. Thanks to that scholarship fund you set up. We can't thank you enough." "No need for thanks. Bright kids deserve chances." I show him my actual boarding pass, the one I've had in my inside pocket this whole time, the one that shows my seat in first class, the one that Gerald never saw. Marcus scans it and waves me through. "Have a wonderful flight, Mr. Morrison. I'll make sure the captain knows you're aboard." "Thank you, Marcus." I walk through the executive corridor, my bag rolling smoothly behind me. My knee doesn't hurt anymore. Funny how that works. Behind me, somewhere in the regular terminal, Gerald is probably celebrating his victory. Jennifer is probably trying to convince herself that what just happened was somehow okay, somehow justified. They have no idea that in about 2 hours, they're going to learn exactly who Russell Morrison really is. And I can't help but smile at the thought. I settle into seat 2A in first class, and the familiar comfort of the leather seat brings back a flood of memories. This isn't just any airline. This is mine. Well, mostly mine. I still own 51% of Morrison Airlines, though I stepped back from daily operations 5 years ago after Margaret died. Margaret. God, I miss her. The flight attendant approaches with a warm smile. "Mr. Morrison, welcome aboard. Can I get you anything before we take off?" "Just water, thank you, Linda." I know most of the senior crew by name. I hired many of them myself, back when we were just starting out. Linda was one of our first flight attendants almost 35 years ago. She's a grandmother now, close to retirement, but she still loves flying. She brings my water and squeezes my shoulder gently. "It's good to see you back in the air, sir. Good to be here." As she walks away, I close my eyes and let myself drift back to when this all started. It was 1989. I was 29 years old, married to Margaret for 2 years, and we were completely broke. But we had a dream. A crazy, impossible dream about starting our own airline. Everyone told us we were insane. My father said I was throwing my life away. Margaret's mother cried and begged her to talk sense into me. But Margaret believed in me. She always believed in me. We scraped together every penny we had. I took out loans that terrified me. We bought one used plane, a 20-seat regional aircraft that needed more repairs than I could count. I learned to fix it myself because we couldn't afford mechanics. I slept in the hangar more nights than I slept in our bed. Margaret worked 3 jobs. She did the books, handled customer service, and somehow still found time to paint the company logo on the side of that first plane. Her hands were covered in paint and her eyes were exhausted, but she was smiling, always smiling. "We're building something real, Russ," she'd say. "We're building our future." And then Jennifer came along. We hadn't planned on a baby so soon, not with the business barely staying afloat, but Margaret was thrilled. "Every dream needs a reason," she told me, hand on her growing belly. "This baby is ours." Jennifer was born in the middle of chaos. I remember changing diapers between conference calls with potential investors. I remember Margaret nursing our daughter while reviewing maintenance schedules. We had no money for babysitters, so Jennifer grew up in that hangar, surrounded by the smell of jet fuel and the sound of engines. She took her first steps on a runway. Her first word was plane, though it came out more like pain. The business grew slowly. We added a second plane, then a third. We focused on regional routes that bigger airlines ignored, small towns, communities that needed reliable transportation. We weren't flashy. We were practical, affordable, safe. I wasn't interested in luxury. I was interested in service. I paid my employees well, better than competitors. I made sure every plane was maintained beyond regulation standards. I knew every pilot by name, knew their families, their stories. By the time Jennifer was 10, we had a fleet of 27 planes. By the time she was 15, we were one of the most respected regional airlines in the country. We'd expanded to the Caribbean, to South America. But I never changed. I still wore off-the-rack suits, still drove a 10-year-old Toyota. Margaret and I lived in the same modest house we'd bought when we were newlyweds. The money went back into the business, into our employees, into safety. Jennifer understood that. She was proud of what we built. She'd bring her friends to the hangar, show them around like she owned the place, which in a way, she would someday. "This is all for you," I told her once, when she was 16. "Everything your mom and I built, it's for you." She hugged me tight. "I know, Dad, and I'm going to make you proud." She did make me proud. Straight A's in school. Scholarship to a good college. She was going to study business, help run the company. Margaret and I would lie in bed at night, making plans. Jennifer would take over operations. We'd finally travel, see the world beyond airports and runways. Then Margaret got sick. It was fast, too fast. Pancreatic cancer, 3 months from diagnosis to funeral. I watched the love of my life fade away, and there was nothing I could do. All the money in the world, all the success, meant nothing when I couldn't save her. Jennifer came home from college. She was 21, about to graduate, and suddenly she was helping me plan her mother's funeral. We cried together. We held each other. We promised we'd get through it together. For a while we did. Jennifer graduated. She moved back home. She started learning the business, just like we'd always planned. It was hard without Margaret, but we had each other. Then, 2 years ago, Jennifer met Gerald. I knew something was wrong from the start. The way he talked about money, about success, about making it big. The way he looked at our house and barely hid his disappointment that it wasn't a mansion. The way he talked about old ways of doing business when I mentioned prioritizing employee welfare. I tried to talk to Jennifer about it, gently, carefully. "Are you sure about this guy, sweetheart? He seems very focused on material things." She got defensive immediately. "Dad, you just don't understand him. He's ambitious. He has plans. But what are his plans? What does he actually do? He's in finance." That's all she would say. Vague, no details. I asked around, quietly. Gerald worked at a hedge fund, but his record was spotty. He'd been let go from 2 previous positions. He had debts, gambling debts, from what I could find out. I tried to tell Jennifer. That was my biggest mistake. "You're trying to control me," she shouted. "Just like you always do. You can't stand that I'm an adult making my own choices." "That's not true, Jennifer. I just want you to be careful. You want me to be alone. You can't handle that I found someone who isn't grieving all the time like you are." That cut deep. The implication that I was dragging her down with my grief, that I was using her to replace Margaret. Gerald was there, of course, for that conversation. He'd been staying over more and more. After Jennifer yelled at me, he put his arm around her shoulders and said, so gently, so concerned, "It's okay, babe. Your dad just doesn't want to lose you. It's natural. He's scared of being alone." Making me the problem. Making my concern about her welfare into something pathological. Jennifer started pulling away after that. She moved in with Gerald within a month. The wedding happened 6 months later. Fast. Too fast. I went to the wedding. I smiled. I gave a toast about how proud Margaret would be. I danced with my daughter, and I felt something die inside me, because I could see the future clearly. I could see Gerald slowly poisoning her against me, making me the villain in their story. And I was right. The calls became less frequent. The visits stopped. When I did see Jennifer, Gerald was always there, and she'd parrot his opinions. "You're too old-fashioned, Dad. You don't understand modern business. You're stuck in the past." A year ago, I stopped by their apartment unannounced. Just wanted to see my daughter. Gerald answered the door and didn't invite me in. Russell, you can't just show up like this. Jennifer's busy. I'm her father. I just want to see her. And you will. When we have time, we'll call you. They didn't call. 6 months ago, I tried one more time, invited them to dinner, expensive restaurant, Gerald's choice. I thought maybe if I met him on his terms, we could find some common ground. Gerald spent the entire meal talking about himself, his investments, his plans, his vision for the future. Jennifer just nodded along, barely eating. When the check came, Gerald didn't even reach for it, just assumed I'd pay, which I did. Then, as we were leaving, I heard him say to Jennifer, "See, your dad's not completely useless. At least he can foot the bill." Jennifer laughed. Not a real laugh, but a performance, agreeing with her husband at her father's expense. That's when I knew. I'd lost her, not to time or distance or the natural progression of life. I'd lost her to a man who saw her as a means to an end and saw me as an obstacle to remove. The seatbelt sign dings, pulling me back to the present. I open my eyes. Through the first-class cabin door, I can see economy boarding. Gerald and Jennifer will be boarding soon. Linda stops by again. "Mr. Morrison, the captain wanted me to tell you that we're about to make a special announcement once everyone is seated. Company tradition when you're on board." I nod. "Thank you, Linda." She hesitates. "Sir, if you don't mind me saying, you seem sad today. Is everything all right?" I manage a smile. "Just old memories, Linda. They have a way of sneaking up on you." She pats my hand and moves on to attend to other passengers. I look out the window at the tarmac, at the planes with Morrison Airlines painted on their sides. Planes I fought for, bled for, built from nothing. In a few minutes, Gerald is going to learn that the ridiculous old failure he humiliated in the terminal is the man who owns the very seat he's sitting in. The man who signs the paychecks of every person on this plane. The man who built an empire while Gerald was still learning to spell. But that's not what matters. What matters is that Jennifer is going to realize she's spent 3 years believing lies about her own father. 3 years of choosing a man who made her choose between him and me. I don't know if she'll forgive herself. I don't know if we can fix what's been broken. But she's going to know the truth. Finally, she's going to know. I watch through the gap in the first-class curtain as passengers file down the aisle. Economy is filling up. I see families with excited children heading to vacation, business travelers already pulling out laptops, couples holding hands, and then I see them. Gerald walks ahead of Jennifer, not waiting for her, not helping with her carry-on. He's on his phone, laughing at something, completely at ease. He's already forgotten about me. Already dismissed the old man he humiliated an hour ago. Jennifer follows behind him, her face drawn and tired. Even from here, I can see the tension in her shoulders. She's carrying both their bags because Gerald's hands are occupied with his phone. They find their seats, row 23, middle and aisle. Gerald takes the aisle seat without asking, leaving Jennifer to squeeze into the middle between him and a stranger by the window. She doesn't protest. She never protests. Linda appears beside me. "Everyone's almost boarded, Mr. Morrison. Captain Rodriguez asked if you'd like to visit the cockpit before takeoff. Maybe after we're in the air," I say quietly. "I'd like to stay here for now." She nods, understanding in her eyes. Linda's been with the company long enough to know that when I'm quiet like this, something important is happening. The final passengers board. The flight attendants begin their safety demonstration. I can see Gerald isn't paying attention, still scrolling through his phone. Jennifer stares straight ahead, her hands folded in her lap. Then Captain Rodriguez's voice comes over the intercom. "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard Morrison Airlines Flight 347 with service to Grand Cayman. Flight time today will be approximately 3 hours and 42 minutes. Standard announcement, routine. Gerald isn't even listening. Rodriguez continues. Before we begin our final preparations for departure, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge someone very special on board today. I see Jennifer's head tilt slightly. Something in the captain's tone has caught her attention. We have the distinct honor of having our founder with us this morning, Mr. Russell Morrison is flying with us today, and I want to personally thank him for his vision and dedication. 35 years ago, Mr. Morrison started this airline with one used aircraft and a dream. He believed that every person deserved reliable, safe, and affordable air travel. Gerald's phone drops into his lap. I see his back go rigid. Mr. Morrison built this company with his own hands. He worked as mechanic, pilot, customer service representative, and CEO all at once. He slept in hangars. He put every dollar back into safety and his employees. Today, Morrison Airlines operates 143 aircraft and employs over 4,000 people, and every single one of us knows we're part of something special because of the foundation he built. Jennifer's hand goes to her mouth. I see her shoulders start to shake. Mr. Morrison, thank you for flying with us today. It's always an honor to have you aboard. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to acknowledge the man who made this journey possible, he's in seat 2A. The cabin erupts in applause. Passengers crane their necks to see. Some stand up. I raise my hand in a small wave, acknowledging them, but my eyes are locked on row 23. Gerald has gone completely white. His mouth is opening and closing, but no sound comes out. The phone has slipped from his fingers onto the floor. Jennifer has turned in her seat. She's staring directly at me now, and even from this distance, I can see the tears streaming down her face. Her expression is pure devastation, not shock, not surprise, devastation. Because she's realizing what she's done, what she's believed, what she's lost. The applause dies down. The cabin settles. The flight attendants prepare for departure. But the energy has fundamentally shifted. I see Gerald lean toward Jennifer, trying to say something, but she jerks away from him. It's a small movement, but significant. The first time I've seen her physically recoil from him. We taxi to the runway. The engines roar to life. The plane accelerates and lifts off, and New York drops away beneath us. Once we reach cruising altitude and the seatbelt sign turns off, I see movement in economy. Jennifer stands up. Gerald grabs her arm, trying to pull her back down, but she shakes him off. She's walking up the aisle toward first class. Linda intercepts her at the curtain. I can't hear the conversation, but I can see Linda's gentle expression, the way she's explaining that Jennifer can't just come into first class. Jennifer says something. Linda glances back at me. I nod. Linda steps aside, and Jennifer walks through the curtain into first class. She looks lost, completely and utterly lost. Her makeup is smeared from crying. Her hands are trembling. She stops a few feet from my seat. Dad. It's just one word, but it contains everything. Apology, regret, pain, recognition. I look at her for a long moment. My daughter. My little girl who used to sit in my lap and ask me to tell her stories, who believed in dragons and heroes and happy endings. Jennifer. My voice is steady, but inside I'm breaking all over again. I didn't know. Her voice cracks. I didn't know you were. I thought you were. A failure? I supply the word Gerald used. A ridiculous old man? Dead weight? She flinches like I've struck her. He told me. He said you'd wasted your life, that you'd sold the company years ago and blown through the money, that you were living off some small pension and too proud to admit it. I let that sink in. And you believed him. She starts to defend herself, then stops, because there's no defense. Yes, I believed him. Why? The question isn't angry. It's genuinely curious. Why would you believe a man you've known for 3 years over your own father? Jennifer's face crumples. Because it was easier. Because if you were a failure, if you were difficult and controlling like he said, then I didn't have to feel guilty about leaving you alone, about not calling, about forgetting your birthday last year. There it is, the truth, raw and painful. You forgot my birthday, I say softly. It's not a question. I knew she'd forgotten. I spent that day alone in the house I shared with Margaret, looking at old photos, waiting for a call that never came. I'm so sorry. Jennifer is sobbing now, barely able to get the words out. Daddy, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She hasn't called me Daddy in years, not since before Margaret died. The word hits me harder than I expected, but I don't comfort her. Not yet, because she needs to understand the full weight of what happened. Do you know what the worst part was? I ask. My voice is quiet, but it carries. It wasn't the insults. It wasn't being called a failure in front of strangers. It was watching you stand there and say nothing, watching you choose his comfort over my dignity. Jennifer's knees buckle slightly. She grabs the back of a seat to steady herself. I know, and I hate myself for it. I stood there like a coward and let him destroy you, and I did nothing. You did worse than nothing, I correct gently. You validated him with your silence. You told him, and you told me, that he was right, that I didn't matter enough to defend. That's not true. She's almost shouting now. You matter. You've always mattered. Then where have you been, Jennifer? I'm not shouting. I'm not even raising my voice, but the question cuts deep. Where have you been for 3 years? Not returning calls, canceling plans, making excuses. Where have you been while I ate dinner alone every night in a house that's too big and too quiet since your mother died? She has no answer. There is no answer that makes it okay. I was drowning, she finally whispers. After Mom died, I was drowning and Gerald threw me a rope. He made me feel like I could breathe again. He made me feel like I wasn't broken. So you let him convince you that I was the one who was broken instead. Jennifer nods miserably. Yes. We sit in that truth for a moment. The plane hums around us. Other first-class passengers are pointedly not looking at us, giving us privacy in this very public space. Did you ever ask yourself why I never told you about the company? I ask. Why I never mentioned still being involved? Jennifer shakes her head. Because you stopped asking about my life. 2 years ago, you stopped asking me how I was, what I was doing, if I needed anything. Every conversation became about you and Gerald, your plans, your problems, your life. And I let it happen because I thought you needed space to build your own life. I thought I was being a good father by not imposing. You were being a good father, Jennifer insists. You've always been a good father. Then why wasn't that enough? The question comes out more raw than I intended. Why did you need him to tell you who I was? Why did his opinion matter more than 34 years of me showing you? Jennifer opens her mouth, closes it, opens it again. Finally, she says the truest thing she said this whole conversation. I don't know. God help me, Dad. I don't know. I lean back in my seat, suddenly exhausted. Your mother used to say that the people we love most are the ones who can hurt us deepest. She was right. But she also said they're the only ones who can heal us. I don't know if that's true anymore. Please, Jennifer begs, please tell me we can fix this. Tell me I haven't destroyed everything. I look at my daughter. Really look at her. She's 31 years old, but right now she looks about 12, scared and small and desperately wanting her father to make everything okay. But I can't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I don't know if we can fix this, Jennifer. I say honestly. I don't know if there's enough trust left to build on. But I do know this. You need to figure out who you are without Gerald telling you. And you need to decide if the person you've become is someone you can live with. Jennifer stands there swaying slightly with the movement of the plane, tears running down her face. What do I do now? That's not my decision to make. I turn to look out the window at the clouds below. You're an adult. You make your own choices. You've made that abundantly clear. She waits for more, but I have nothing else to give right now. After a long moment, she turns and walks back toward economy. Back toward Gerald, who's undoubtedly waiting with explanations and excuses. Linda appears at my side once Jennifer is gone. Are you okay, Mr. Morrison? No, I say honestly, but I will be. She squeezes my shoulder and moves on. I close my eyes and try not to think about the look on Jennifer's face. Try not to think about the fact that my daughter spent 3 years believing I was worthless. Try not to think about all the damage that's been done. But I can't stop thinking about what comes next. Because Gerald knows now. Gerald knows he's been caught, and desperate men do desperate things. This flight is only 3 hours and 42 minutes long, but I have a feeling it's going to be the longest flight of my life. 20 minutes pass. I try to read the book I brought, but the words blur on the page. I'm aware of every sound from economy, every raised voice, every movement. Then I hear it. Gerald's voice getting louder. Angry. You're being ridiculous, Jennifer. Sit down. I hear Jennifer's response, quieter but firm. No, I need space. Space? From me? After everything I've done for you? Linda catches my eye from across the cabin. She's heard it too. Her expression is concerned. But she's professionally trained not to intervene in passenger disputes unless they become dangerous. Everything you've done? Jennifer's voice is rising now too. What exactly have you done, Gerald? Besides lie to me about my own father? I protected you from him. He was trying to control you, to keep you dependent. He was trying to warn me about you. The cabin has gone quiet. Everyone's listening now, whether they want to or not. It's impossible not to hear. I should stay out of it. This is between them. But my daughter's pain pulls at me like a hook in my chest. Gerald's voice drops to something low and venomous. I have to strain to hear it. You really want to do this now? Here? Fine. Your father is a manipulative old man who can't stand that you chose someone over him. He's been playing you this entire flight with his wounded act. Stop. Jennifer's voice cuts through. Just stop talking. No, you need to hear this. He let you believe he was broke. He played the victim. He set this whole thing up to humiliate me, to make you feel guilty. Can't you see that? He's the manipulator, not me. The logic is twisted, but I hear the calculation in it. Gerald's trying to flip the script, make me the villain again. It might have worked a week ago, but not after what happened in the terminal, not after the captain's announcement. You tore up his boarding pass, Jennifer says. Each word sounds like it costs her something. You screamed at him in front of everyone. You called him a failure, a burden, ridiculous. I stood there and watched you do it, and I said nothing. Nothing. What kind of person does that make me? A person who was standing by her husband, Gerald shoots back. That's what marriage is, Jennifer. Loyalty. Loyalty. Jennifer's laugh is hollow. You want to talk about loyalty? Did you know my father paid for our wedding? The entire thing. $83,000. I saw the receipts yesterday when I was looking for our passport copies. I found them in your office. My chest tightens. I did pay for their wedding, quietly, through an account Gerald didn't know about. I never told Jennifer because I didn't want her to feel obligated. It was supposed to be a gift, no strings attached. He was showing off, Gerald says quickly, trying to prove he was still relevant. He paid for it anonymously, Gerald, through a trust. I wasn't supposed to know. You weren't supposed to know. But you did know, didn't you? You found out somehow, and you never told me. Silence from Gerald. That tells me everything. He did know. Probably hired someone to dig into my finances. That's how he knew about the company sale that never happened. That's how he knew enough to construct his lies. Jennifer continues, her voice shaking. What else did you lie about? What else did you twist and hide and manipulate? Jennifer, calm down. People are staring. Let them stare. I've spent 3 years being your perfect wife, saying the right things, acting the right way, cutting off anyone you decided was a threat. My friends from college, gone, because you said they were bad influences. My father, abandoned because you said he was toxic. I have no one left, Gerald. No one except you. That was the plan, wasn't it? My hands are gripping the armrests so tight my knuckles are white. I want to go back there. I want to pull my daughter away from him. But she needs to do this herself. She needs to find her voice. That's insane, Gerald says, but his voice has changed. There's panic in it now. You're being paranoid. Am I? Then explain the prenup you tried to get me to sign last month. The one that would have given you half of any inheritance I received from my father. You said it was standard, that all modern couples did it. But my father doesn't owe me anything, Gerald. I abandoned him. I chose you over him repeatedly. So why would you need protection from an inheritance that should never exist? I didn't know about the prenup. The knowledge hits me like a physical blow. He was already planning for my death, already trying to position himself to take everything. You're twisting everything. Gerald's voice is loud now, defensive. I was protecting our future or your future, Jennifer demands, because I'm starting to think I was never part of it. Not really. I was just a means to an end. That's not true. Then look me in the eye and tell me you love me. Tell me you didn't marry me because my last name is Morrison and you thought there was money involved. The silence that follows is damning. Jennifer, Gerald finally says, and his voice has shifted to something pleading. Baby, of course I love you. You're everything to me. I know I made mistakes. I know I shouldn't have said those things about your father. I was frustrated. I didn't mean it. Yes, you did. Jennifer sounds tired now, exhausted. You meant every word. And the worst part is, you made me believe it too. You made me believe my own father was worthless, and I was stupid enough to listen. So what now? Gerald's voice turns hard. You're just going to throw away 3 years of marriage because of one bad day? One bad day? Jennifer repeats. Gerald, you humiliated my father in public. You've been lying to me about who he is for 3 years. You isolated me from everyone I cared about. You tried to get me to sign away rights to money I don't even have and don't deserve. This isn't one bad day. This is who you are. I hear movement. Footsteps. Jennifer appears at the first-class curtain again. This time, Linda doesn't stop her. Jennifer walks straight to my seat and sits down in the empty seat beside me. Dad, her voice is small. Can I sit here, please? I look at her. Her face is blotchy from crying. Her hair is a mess. She looks broken, but she's here. She's choosing to be here. Yes, I say quietly. You can sit here. Gerald appears at the curtain a moment later. Jennifer, get back here right now. Linda steps in front of him. Sir, you need to return to your seat. That's my wife. That's a passenger who has chosen to change seats. You need to return to your assigned seat, sir, or I'll have to call the captain. Gerald looks past Linda at Jennifer, at me. His face is red with rage and humiliation. This isn't over, he says. It's not clear if he's talking to Jennifer or to me. Yes, it is, Jennifer says firmly. It's been over for a long time. I just didn't want to see it. Linda escorts Gerald back to economy. He goes, but not without looking back twice, his expression venomous. Jennifer and I sit in silence for a long time. The plane hums around us. Outside the window, clouds drift past. Finally, Jennifer speaks. I don't know how to fix this. Maybe you can't, I say honestly. Maybe some things stay broken. She flinches. Is that what you want, for us to stay broken? I turn to look at her fully. What I want is for you to understand what was lost. Not just between us, but inside you. The Jennifer I knew would have never stood silent while someone attacked the people she loved. The Jennifer I knew had a spine, had convictions, had a sense of right and wrong that didn't depend on what her husband thought. I know I changed. I became someone I don't even recognize. Then the question is, can you find your way back? And do you even want to? Jennifer wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. I want my father back. I want the relationship we had before Mom died, before Gerald, before I screwed everything up. We can't go back, Jennifer. We can only go forward. And going forward means you have to be honest with yourself about why you let this happen. It wasn't just Gerald. He pulled the strings, but you let yourself be a puppet. The words are harsh, but they need to be said. Jennifer needs to hear them. She nods slowly. You're right. I was scared after Mom died. Scared of being alone, of feeling that grief every day. Gerald made me feel less alone. And somewhere along the way, I started believing that feeling good meant he must be good for me. Even when the red flags were everywhere, I ignored them, because facing them meant facing that I'd made a mistake, that I'd chosen wrong, that I'd hurt you for nothing. And now I see it clearly. All of it. And I don't know how to live with what I've done. Her voice breaks. How do I live with the fact that I abandoned my father when he needed me most? That I believed lies about the man who raised me? That I stood there this morning and let my husband destroy you and I did nothing? I take a deep breath. You live with it by doing better. By being better. By making different choices going forward. Is there a forward for us? She looks at me with desperate hope. Can you ever forgive me? I think about that question. Really think about it. Can I forgive her? Part of me wants to say yes immediately, wants to pull her into my arms and tell her everything will be okay. That's the father in me. But the man who's been hurt, who's been abandoned, who's eaten alone for 3 years while his only child chose a liar over him, that man isn't ready. I don't know, I say finally. I honestly don't know, Jennifer. You didn't just hurt me. You made me doubt myself. You made me wonder if maybe Gerald was right, if maybe I had failed somehow, if maybe I deserved to be left behind. You took a grieving widower and made him feel worthless. That's not something I can just forgive because you finally see the truth. Jennifer's face crumbles. I understand. I do. I don't deserve your forgiveness. It's not about deserving. It's about trust. And right now, I don't trust that you won't do this again. I don't trust that the next time someone comes along and tells you pretty lies, you won't believe them over me. I would never. You already did, Jennifer. You already proved that you will. So now you have to prove that you won't. And that takes time. A lot of time. She nods, tears streaming down her face. What do I do now? I look out the window at the endless blue sky. You figure out who you want to be. You end the marriage that's poisoning you. You rebuild your life. And if there's still space for me in it when you're done, maybe we can try to rebuild us too. And if there's not space, if it's too late, I meet her eyes. Then at least you'll know you tried. That's more than you've done for the past 3 years. The seatbelt sign dings on. The captain's voice comes over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, we're beginning our descent into Grand Cayman. Flight attendants, please prepare for landing. Jennifer looks toward economy, where Gerald is sitting. I can't go on this trip with him. I can't pretend for a week that everything's fine. So don't, I say simply. Make your choice, Jennifer, but make it for you, not for me, and not for him. As the plane descends through the clouds, my daughter sits beside me. And for the first time in 3 years, I feel like she's actually here, actually present. It's not forgiveness. It's not reconciliation. But maybe, just maybe, it's a start. The plane touches down with a gentle bump. Grand Cayman spreads out below us, turquoise water and white sand beaches. It should be beautiful. It should be the start of a vacation. Instead, it feels like the end of something. Jennifer hasn't moved from the seat beside me. She's staring at her hands, twisting her wedding ring around and around her finger. I notice how thin she's gotten. When did that happen? When did my daughter become this fragile version of herself? I don't have anywhere to go, she says quietly as the plane taxis to the gate. The resort reservation is under Gerald's name. All our cards are joint. I don't even have my own credit card anymore. He said it was easier to manage finances together. Another red flag she missed. Another way he kept control. I have a villa here, I tell her. Private. Quiet. You can stay there if you want. She looks up at me, surprise in her eyes. You have a villa here? Your mother and I bought it 20 years ago. We always planned to retire here eventually, spend our winters in the warmth. I look out at the island. After she died, I couldn't bring myself to sell it. I come down a few times a year just to feel close to her. Jennifer's face crumples. I didn't know anything about your life anymore. No, I agree. You didn't. The plane comes to a complete stop. Around us, passengers begin gathering their belongings, eager to start their vacations. Jennifer and I remain seated. The offer stands, I say. The villa has 3 bedrooms. You can have your own space. Time to think. Time to figure out what comes next. And you? She asks. Where will you be? I'll be there too. But Jennifer, understand something. This isn't me swooping in to fix everything. This isn't me making it all better. You're going to have to sit with what you've done. You're going to have to feel it. And I'm not going to comfort you through that. I'm not your therapist or your priest. I'm your father, and right now I'm a father who's been deeply hurt by his daughter. She nods slowly. I understand, and thank you for the offer, for not just leaving me here to figure it out alone. I'm not doing it for you, I say, and I need her to understand this. I'm doing it because your mother would never forgive me if I left you stranded, no matter what you've done. This is for her, not you. The words are harsh, but they're true. Jennifer needs to understand that my kindness right now isn't forgiveness. It's just decency. We wait until most of the passengers have deplaned. Then Jennifer stands, takes a deep breath, and walks back toward economy to get her luggage. I follow at a distance. Gerald is waiting in the aisle, his face a storm of emotions, anger, humiliation, calculation. When he sees Jennifer, his expression shifts to something softer, more manipulative. Jennifer, baby, we need to talk about this. Really talk. Not here. Not with everyone watching. Let's go to the resort. Have a drink. Calm down. I'm not going to the resort, Jennifer says. Her voice is steadier than I expected. I'm not going anywhere with you. Gerald's eyes flick to me, standing a few feet behind her. His jaw tightens. This is his doing. He's poisoning you against me. No, Gerald, you did that yourself, years ago. I just couldn't see it. Jennifer, please, I love you. We can work through this. Do you? She asks. Do you really love me? Or do you love what you thought I could give you? Gerald's face darkens. The mask is slipping again. I've given you 3 years of my life. I've supported you, been patient with your grief, dealt with your moods. My moods? Jennifer's laugh is sharp. You mean my depression? The depression you told me was all in my head? The therapy you said I didn't need because I should just think positive? I didn't know Jennifer had been depressed. The knowledge hits me hard. My daughter was suffering, and I wasn't there. But then, she didn't let me be there. She chose to suffer alone rather than reach out to her father. You're twisting everything, Gerald says. His voice is rising. Other passengers still gathering luggage are starting to stare. I've been nothing but good to you. You've been nothing but good to yourself, Jennifer corrects. I was just convenient, a means to an end, and the end was my father's money. Gerald's expression turns ugly. You know what? Fine. You want to throw away our marriage over one mistake? Over some words I said when I was stressed? Fine. But you're going to regret this, Jennifer. You're going to realize what you had and what you lost, and I'm not going to take you back. I'm counting on it, Jennifer says quietly. She reaches up to the overhead bin and pulls down her bag. Gerald doesn't help. He just stands there, seething. We're done, Gerald. When we get back to New York, I want you out of the apartment. I'll have a lawyer contact you about the divorce. The apartment is in my name too, Gerald snaps. Actually, it's in my name, Jennifer corrects. I bought it before we got married, remember? You moved in. You're not on the deed. You're not on anything. My father made sure of that when we bought it. Gerald's eyes snap to me. I say nothing. I don't need to. Jennifer's right. When she bought that apartment 5 years ago, before Gerald, I'd made sure everything was solely in her name. I didn't know then that I'd be protecting her from her future husband, but I'm grateful now that I did. You manipulative, Gerald starts toward me, but a flight attendant steps between us. Sir, I'm going to need you to step back. Gerald looks around, realizes that several crew members are watching him closely, realizes that he's on my airline surrounded by my employees, and the fight goes out of him. He grabs his bag from the overhead bin roughly, shouldering past Jennifer. Before he leaves, he turns back. You're making a mistake, both of you. You deserve each other. Two manipulative, cold-hearted people playing victim. Then he's gone, storming down the jetway. Jennifer stands there, shaking. I move closer but don't touch her. She needs to stand on her own right now. Did I really just do that? She asks, her voice small. Did I just end my marriage in the middle of an airplane? You ended a lie, I say. The marriage ended a long time ago. You just made it official. She looks at me, and I see the girl she used to be flicker across her face. The strong one. The brave one. I'm scared. Good. You should be. Being scared means you understand the magnitude of what just happened. We make our way off the plane. The airport is bright and warm, filled with tourists in vacation clothes. Everyone looks happy, carefree. We must look like ghosts among them. My driver, Marcus, is waiting outside customs. He's worked for me for 15 years, every time I come to the island. Mr. Morrison, he greets me with a warm smile, then notices Jennifer. And Miss Jennifer, it's been so long. You were just a teenager last time I saw you. Jennifer manages a weak smile. Hi, Marcus, it's been a while. If Marcus notices the tension, the evidence of tears, he doesn't mention it. He just loads our bags into the car and drives us toward the villa. The drive takes 35 minutes. Jennifer stares out the window at the passing scenery. The beaches, the resorts, the life happening all around us. Do you remember coming here? I ask her. You were 15. It was right after we closed on the villa. Your mother was so excited. Jennifer nods slowly. I remember. Mom wanted to paint every sunset. She said the colors here were different than anywhere else. She filled 3 sketchbooks that trip. I can see Margaret on the veranda, brush in hand, completely absorbed in capturing the light. She said this place was magic. I haven't thought about that trip in years, Jennifer admits. I haven't let myself think about Mom much at all. It hurt too much. So you let Gerald convince you to forget. She's quiet for a moment. He didn't have to convince me. I wanted to forget, wanted to not feel, and he was offering numbness. I took it. The villa comes into view. It sits on a private stretch of beach, white walls and blue shutters, surrounded by palm trees and bougainvillea. Margaret's dream house. Marcus helps us with the bags, then discreetly leaves. Jennifer and I stand in the foyer, the house quiet around us. Your mother decorated this place, I tell her. Every piece of furniture, every painting, every color. This was her vision of peace. Jennifer looks around, and I can see the memories hitting her. Her mother's taste, her mother's love, her mother's absence. I don't know what to do now, she whispers. I don't know how to be alone, how to be myself. I've been Gerald's wife for so long, I forgot how to be Jennifer. Then that's what you figure out, I say, starting now. I show her to the guest room, the one that overlooks the ocean. Margaret always said this room had the best light in the morning. Get some rest, I tell her. Tomorrow we'll deal with practicalities. Lawyers, logistics, all of it. But tonight, just rest. Jennifer nods. She looks exhausted, emotionally wrung out. She starts to say something, then stops. Finally, she just says, "Thank you, Dad." I close the door and leave her alone. In the kitchen, I pour myself a glass of Margaret's favorite wine. I've kept the villa stocked with it, even though she's been gone for 5 years. It's a habit I can't break. I take the glass out to the veranda and sit in Margaret's chair. The sunset is starting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink and purple. The colors she loved. I don't know what I'm doing, Maggie, I say to the empty air. Our daughter broke my heart and I don't know if I can fix it. I don't know if I want to fix it. I don't know if it's even possible. The waves crash against the shore. A breeze rustles through the palms. Margaret doesn't answer, of course. She never will again. but I can almost hear what she would say. She'd tell me that love isn't about keeping score, that forgiveness isn't about forgetting, that family is messy and complicated and sometimes it breaks, but that doesn't mean it's not worth fighting for. I miss you, I whisper. I miss you so much. Inside the villa, I hear a door open, footsteps. Jennifer appears on the veranda, wrapped in one of the robes from the closet. She doesn't say anything. She just sits in the other chair, the one that used to be mine when Margaret sat in hers. We watch the sunset together in silence. Not comfortable silence, not forgiven silence, just silence. But maybe for now, that's enough. 18 months later, I'm standing in the hangar where it all started. The smell of jet fuel and oil brings back memories so vivid I can almost see Margaret standing by the workbench, calculator in hand, figuring out how to make our impossible dream work. Jennifer is here too, not beside me but across the hangar, talking to one of our newer mechanics about an engine retrofit. She's wearing coveralls, her hair is pulled back, she looks focused, real. She doesn't work for me. That was one of her conditions when she asked if she could learn the business. I need to earn this, she'd said. Not have it given to me because I'm your daughter. Not anymore. So she started at the bottom. Literally, cleaning planes, checking inventory, learning every single job in this company the way I did 40 years ago. She's been doing it for a year now. No special treatment, no shortcuts. It hasn't been easy. Not the work, and not us. Those first months after Grand Cayman were brutal. Jennifer stayed at the villa for 2 weeks, mostly in her room. I gave her space. When she finally emerged, really emerged, she was different. Quieter, more thoughtful, but also stronger somehow. The divorce took 6 months. Gerald fought it every step of the way. Tried to claim he deserved half of everything. Tried to drag it out in hopes Jennifer would cave. She didn't. She stood firm, even when he tried the old manipulations, even when he sent her late-night messages about how much he missed her. I stayed out of it. That was her battle to fight. I just made sure she had a good lawyer. When it was finally done, she didn't celebrate. She just came to my house, sat at the kitchen table and said, I need to figure out who I am now. So figure it out, I'd told her. And she did. Therapy, 3 times a week. Reconnecting with old friends she'd lost touch with. Taking time to be alone without running from it. And eventually, asking if she could learn about Morrison Airlines. Really learn, from the ground up. The mechanic Jennifer's talking to laughs at something she said. She's good with people. Always has been. That came from Margaret. The stubbornness, the determination, that came from me. I watch her for a moment longer, then turn back to the paperwork on my desk. Budget reports, maintenance schedules, the same work I've been doing for 35 years. Dad? Jennifer's voice pulls me from the numbers. She's standing in the doorway of my office, wiping grease from her hands. You have a minute? Sure. I gesture to the chair across from me. What's up? She sits, nervous energy radiating off her. I've been thinking about something. A lot, actually, and I wanted to run it by you. Okay. I want to start a program, through the company, for young people who want to get into aviation but can't afford the training. Scholarships, apprenticeships, mentorship, the whole thing. She pulls out a folder, sets it on my desk. I've been working on the proposal for 3 months. I've talked to community colleges, technical schools. I've even got some commitments from other airlines to participate. I open the folder. Inside is a detailed plan. Budgets, timelines, partnership proposals. It's thorough, professional, good. This is ambitious, I say. I know, but it's needed. I've been talking to the younger crew members, the ones who struggled to get here. There are so many kids out there with potential who never get a chance because they don't have the money or the connections. I want to change that. I look at my daughter, really look at her. This isn't the woman who stood silent while her husband destroyed me. This isn't the girl who forgot her father's birthday. This is someone new, someone who's earned her place here through sweat and determination, someone who's thinking beyond herself. What do you want from me? I ask. Honestly, your blessing. And maybe some advice. But I don't want you to fund it. I'm using my own money. The settlement from the divorce, some savings I had. This is mine. I need it to be mine. I nod slowly. What are you going to call it? She hesitates, then says quietly, the Margaret Morrison Foundation, if that's okay with you. Something in my chest tightens. Margaret would have loved this. She always believed in giving people chances, in seeing potential where others saw obstacles. She would be proud of you, I say, and my voice is rougher than I intended. Jennifer's eyes fill with tears, but she blinks them back. I hope so. I have a lot to make up for. This isn't about making up for anything, Jennifer. This is about who you're choosing to be now. Can it be both? I consider that. Maybe it can. We sit in comfortable silence for a moment. Not the loaded silence of that first sunset in Grand Cayman. Not the painful silence of the months that followed. This is different. Easier. Earned. There's something else, Jennifer says. Something I need to say, and I need you to really hear it. I set down my pen, give her my full attention. I'm not asking for forgiveness, she begins. I know I don't deserve it. I know that what I did, the years I wasted, the pain I caused, that doesn't just go away because I'm trying to do better now, but I need you to know that I see it. I see what I did to you, what I let Gerald do to us, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life being someone worthy of being your daughter. Jennifer, please, let me finish. She takes a shaky breath. I used to think love meant never having to say you were wrong, that family meant automatic forgiveness. But I know now that's not true. Love means being accountable. Family means showing up consistently, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. And I haven't done that, but I'm doing it now, and I'll keep doing it, whether you ever fully trust me again or not. I'm quiet for a long moment, letting her words settle. She's right. Trust isn't automatic. It's earned. And while she's been working to earn it back, I have to admit, she's shown up. Every day. No excuses. No shortcuts. I appreciate you saying that. I finally respond. And for what it's worth, you're doing the work. I see it. But, she knows there's more. But I'm not there yet. I'm closer than I was. But there are still moments when I remember you standing in that airport silent, and it hurts all over again. That's not your fault. That's just the reality of what happened. Some wounds take longer to heal. Jennifer nods, wiping at her eyes. I understand, and I'll wait. However long it takes. My phone buzzes. A text from Linda, my longtime flight attendant. She's asking about a crew scheduling issue. I handle it quickly, then look back at Jennifer. Your foundation proposal is solid, I tell her. You've clearly put in the work. I think you should do it. Her face lights up. Really? Really. And if you want advice or connections, I'm here. But this is your project, your vision. You should be the one to see it through. She stands, gathering her folder. Thank you, Dad, for looking at it, for giving me a chance to prove myself here. You're proving yourself to you, Jennifer, not to me. That's the difference now. She pauses at the door, looking back at me. I love you. I don't say it enough, but I do. I love you so much, and I'm so sorry for all the time we lost. I love you too, I say, and I mean it. Even through the pain, even through the broken trust, that never changed. And we're not losing any more time. We're building something new. She smiles, real and genuine, then heads back to work. I turn back to my desk, but I can't focus on the numbers. I keep thinking about Margaret, about what she'd say if she could see Jennifer now, see us now. Margaret always believed that people could change, could grow, could become better versions of themselves. I was more skeptical. I believed people were who they were, and all you could do was accept it or walk away. But watching Jennifer these past 18 months, seeing her put in the work, seeing her become someone who takes responsibility and shows up and fights for what matters, I'm starting to think Margaret was right. People can change, but only if they want to. Only if they're willing to do the hard, uncomfortable work of facing who they've been and deciding to be different. Jennifer's doing that work every day, and while I'm not ready to say everything is healed, everything is forgiven, I can say this. I'm proud of her. For the first time in years, I'm proud of my daughter. That evening, Jennifer stops by my house. It's become a routine over the past few months. Dinner together once a week. Sometimes we talk, sometimes we don't. It's still a work in progress. Tonight, she brings takeout from the Thai place Margaret used to love. We eat on the back porch, watching the sun set over the yard where Jennifer used to play as a child. I got an email from Gerald today, she says casually, between bites of pad thai. My fork pauses halfway to my mouth. Oh? He wanted to meet up, talk about closure or some nonsense. I deleted it. Good. I'm not angry at him anymore, she continues. I was for a long time, furious, but now I just feel nothing. He was a lesson I needed to learn, I guess. A painful one, but necessary. What lesson was that? She thinks about it, that I can't hide from pain by pretending it doesn't exist. That the people who really love you won't ask you to choose between them and yourself. That I'm stronger than I thought I was. You are stronger, I agree. Much stronger than you used to be. We finish eating in comfortable silence. Jennifer helps me clean up, then makes tea the way Margaret used to, strong and sweet. We take our mugs back to the porch. The sky is deep purple now, stars beginning to appear. Dad? Jennifer's voice is soft. Can I ask you something? Sure. Do you think you'll ever fully forgive me? Or is this as close as we get? I don't answer right away. I owe her honesty, even if it's hard to hear. I don't know, I finally say. I think about it a lot. Some days I feel like we're almost back to something good. Other days the hurt feels fresh. But here's what I do know. I'm not giving up on us. I'm not walking away. I'm here, showing up, same as you. And maybe that's what matters most. Jennifer nods, tears sliding down her cheeks. That's enough. That's more than enough. We sit together as the last light fades from the sky. It's not a perfect ending. We're not completely healed. The scars remain, probably always will, but we're here, together, fighting for something worth saving. And in the quiet of this moment, with my daughter beside me and the memory of Margaret in every corner of this house, I feel something I haven't felt in years. Peace. Not the kind that comes from forgetting or pretending. The kind that comes from surviving something terrible and choosing, actively choosing, to build something better in its place. It's earned peace. Hard-won peace. The only kind that lasts. I miss Mom, Jennifer whispers. Me too, I say. Every single day. Do you think she'd forgive me? For what I did? I look at my daughter, at the woman she's becoming. I think she'd say the same thing I'm saying. That forgiveness isn't the point. Growth is. And you're growing, Jennifer. Every day you're becoming more of who you were meant to be. She leans her head on my shoulder, just like she used to when she was small. I don't pull away. We sit like that as the stars come out, as the night settles around us. Tomorrow, we'll both go back to work. We'll keep building our separate lives, keep working on this fragile, healing thing between us. But tonight, this moment, this quiet peace, is enough. More than enough. It's everything.